Morning, it's day 9. Although it's absolutely glorious and it looks fantastic, it's absolutely killing us for hunting. The moose are coming out 2 hours max, and we are an hour from where they're holding up. Temperatures at night are dropping to sub-zero, so the moose are lying up in the alders. In the morning, they're coming out, getting warm, then all of a sudden, because they've got them big winter coats on, they're too hot, and they're back in the alders and we can't see them anymore until they pop out again for another bite of something to eat on the meadows at about 4:30 in the afternoon. On a hunting perspective, it is killing us. If it was chucking it down with rain, the rain stops, everything comes out into the meadows and you've got an opportunity to make a run on them. So the actual hunting has been really, really hard. We saw a really nice bull yesterday, tried a bit of calling, he looked a bit interested, did a paddle wave, didn't like that at all and bugged out, which was a shame because he was a really, really nice bull. So we're running out of time. We're an hour away from the bottom. If we kill a moose 2 hours away, then it's 4 hours to get back. And if that moose is a big moose, it'll take 10 trips, which is about a 6-hour round trip. You can work it out. 10 trips, 60 hours, 2 of us, 30 hours. We're going to struggle, but we're going to give it a go and we'll try.
It would be easy to get disheartened after the disappointment of yesterday, but we're both experienced hunters and have learned that failure must come first before success. If you don't try new things and always play it safe, you'll be forever reliant on a dose of luck. Yesterday is a prime example of this, and I've spent the night running through the sequence of events. Initially, the bull had responded positively to the call and had stepped forward confidently. Having piqued his interest, we could have waited until this morning to see if the bull would cross the valley and into our grasp, but there was no guarantee he'd be there. Instead, we went for glory, and why not? Had he committed himself and crossed the ravine to defend his territory, we could have been celebrating the bull of a lifetime. It was a chance worth taking, but unfortunately didn't work for us this time. But that was yesterday, and our attention now turns to what is almost certainly our last chance of success. We follow the process that has served us so well over the years, patiently scanning the terrain through the binos and spotting scope, searching deep into the vegetation for signs of our bull.
So here we have it, another beautiful day. It's about just before 12 o'clock noon, and we think we spotted that big fella over on the far ridge again, not far away from where he disappeared yesterday.
We've only seen a flash of paddle, but we're pretty sure that it was him. They were very wide, weren't they?
The one that was with yesterday was still kind of browny coloured, so we're pretty sure it's him. Now he's still quite a ways out there, so what we're going to do is head down to the knoll. That's about 600 yards closer, see if we can get a better shot at him. If not, I still think we need to get up high. We'll go across the valley below us here, up into the high ground, see if we can glass back down on top of him. Now the wind is in our favour. The higher we get, the better really. Perfect conditions for hunting today, so there's a good solid strong wind. Yesterday was kind of breezy, which is not really helpful because it can eddy around some of these valleys. Good strong consistent wind helps mask your approach. I suppose the first thing to do is get down to the knoll and see if we can see him.
See what we can see.
Unfortunately, our brief glimpse of paddle has not then transformed into the big bull from yesterday. With such a vast expanse in which to hide, it's unlikely we'll get eyes on him again today, let alone have the opportunity to stalk into him. Our best bet is to move position and try and work around the dense vegetation. Once again, eagle-eyed Wildy spots a flash of white in an alder patch, and we investigate further.
He's moving around now.
And there he is, a spectacular bull with 3 unusually long brow tines on his right side.
Come round the top of this gorge and in there. That's the way I go.
His paddles shine brightly in the sunshine, and you can see the remnants of his velvet still clinging onto the tips. Wildie watches intently through his binos as the bull feeds his way across the ridge. This is a golden opportunity, but requires a carefully executed plan.
I think anything could happen.
Anything could happen.
You've got to be positive that we ought to make a move.
We're within a few hundred yards of the bull and at a similar elevation. Thus, our chances of losing sight of him in the vegetation are substantial. We need to keep eyes on him at all times whilst we manoeuvre into position. We move separately, one watching the bull whilst the other moves, using hand signals to communicate its position. The bull has disappeared into a willow thicket, and it's clear that we're going to have to circumnavigate its position, climbing the ridge, crossing a deep ravine, and approaching from above and behind. It's a horrible route fraught with danger, so we take the opportunity to recharge our batteries for the exertions ahead.
So the bull we're looking at is just across on the ridge. He's about 600 yards away. There's a big ravine in the middle. The wind is kind of blowing across. The easier route is to come up across the ravine there. There's a nice slope and into him, but you'll get our wind. So what we're going to do is we're going to head around, try and keep eyes on him. Steve's sitting, holding station. He's going to let us know if he moves using hand signals. And then we're going to work our way up through the side of the valley wall, try and get a little bit higher and see if we can get a shot. Where he is, as is usually the case, is pretty well protected. So he's got holders on both sides and he's sat in a willow patch. So we don't think he's going to move anywhere. He's in pretty good shape. He's got 3 brow tines on one side, so he is going to be legal, but he is significantly smaller than the big boy that we pushed on further down the valley. But this is our target for today. It should take 45 minutes to an hour to get round. As soon as we've got eyes on him, we're comfortable, we'll wave Steve over and then we'll get in position hopefully to take a shot.
As we draw level with the approximate position of the bull, I drop my pack and head in with my rifle to see if I have a clear shot. Wildie signals the bull has not moved, and I decide to move in closer. No sign of the bull, and the ravine in front of us is over 200 feet deep with sheer sides. I indicate the route we'll have to follow to enable a downwind approach. It's highly frustrating to know that our bull is lying down in the bushes just 200 yards ahead, but we must continue to press on with the original plan. I signal to Wildie, but he's now lost sight of the bull. We're on our own. We're high enough now to descend downwind, but still have to navigate the ravine. The sides are steep and slippery. The water is moving fast. A sharp drop in the river means there's no way back. Once we take this path, we're fully committed. We happen across a recently used grizzly den and I proceed with caution. In this dense cover, danger could be lurking just a few feet away. The reward for our efforts is an elevated position with panoramic views, downwind of the bull. Now we must pick our way through the ridge carefully and deliberately, scanning every nook and crevasse. It's surprising how little cover can completely conceal a giant bull. And finally, our prize is within our grasp. My heart is beating out of my chest, but now is no time for rash behaviour. I take a moment to consider the options and identify the most advantageous approach. The bull is lying in the edge of a willow thicket with its head resting in the meadow. The grass here is tall and I decide on a kneeling shot of my trusty Vanguard B62 shooting sticks.
That was epic. Steve is way over on the far hillside over there. We thought, oh, we just come up and have a quick look up here, see if we can get a better vantage point. And the idea was, well, we'll fetch Steve up once we get to a place where we can see the bull. So we kept walking around and finally crossed the ravine, got over here. While he was signalling, couldn't see the bull. And it's because he was kind of tucked up in the bottom there in that willow. 196 yards exactly. Now I called, cow called, and then barked a couple of times, and I stood up, just moved my rifle slightly to get a better view, so I was going to clear those branches, and I just saw him going to our left. As soon as he stepped into that bush, that's too thick and I wouldn't have been able to get a shot in there. But he offered me the perfect side neck shock, which is absolutely amazing. So they've got quite deep vertebrae, about 6 inches, so it's a nice tall target to aim for. And of course, you know, the Sauer 404 with Hawke Endurance 624 by 50 scope combination's perfect. And these Hornady Interlocks 180 grain did the job perfectly. So he's down there now. You know, I just can't believe it. After everything that happened yesterday, the massive disappointment, you know, I was kind of wrestling with myself. To get up here after all that work today, you know, 3.5 hours of absolute nightmare terrain, crevasses, alders, thickets, and get up here and actually get that shot, you know, that's nothing short of spectacular. It really is amazing. For him to drop on the spot like that, just on the edge of the clearing to make it easy for us to get in there and do the knife work is absolutely brilliant. So I think Steve may have heard the shot, and that's his signal to get his arse over here and get his knives out. Anyway, our bull's down there, he's not moved, so let's get down and see what we've got. Now that is a big moose. Luckily he's kind of fallen pretty close to the willow for us here. Hopefully when Steve gets up we've got a bit of space to work with, but that's about 2 to 3 days work to get him down from here all the way back. Now as a crow flies it's a mile. The way we come today it's probably about 2 miles in terms of hiking, but there you go. So let's get to work. I didn't think you'd want to come, and I'm pretty sure you didn't want to come the way we came.
I want to come that way now.
With the carcass clear of obstructions, Wildy sets about butchering the bull, whilst I clear a trail through the alders down to the river. This is where our relative strengths really come into play. But with the sun falling into the horizon, we must make haste back to camp before nightfall.
Hey up, bud.
Over trail, down to the water. Got everything apart from this front shoulder.
We load up with the first of what will be many packs of meat and begin the arduous trek through the elders, across 3 ravines and up the final ascent back to camp. We mark the trail at regular intervals with high visibility ribbon to help us navigate our way back in the morning. Our success is recognised by the US Air Force, who appear to have scheduled a flyby in celebration of the harvest. It's a great feeling to finally arrive back at camp and drop our first loads. It's been a tough day for all of us, but the hard part is still to come.